My girlfriend said, "I'm subletting your guest room on Airbnb. We need the cash." Without asking me, it was MY House. I replied, "Entrepreneurial thinking." Then I canceled every booking, refunded the guests, removed her from my property access, and changed the alarm code. I, 34M, own a 3-bedroom house in a quiet Midwest suburb. Bought it 5 years ago. 30-year fixed mortgage. My name only. No cosigner. No family help. I worked 2 jobs for 2 years to save the down payment. That house is the first thing in my life that was completely mine. My girlfriend, 32F, moved in about a year ago. At first, she was between freelance marketing contracts. So I told her not to worry about rent while she got stable. After a few months, we agreed she'd help with utilities and groceries. It was inconsistent. I covered the mortgage, insurance, taxes, repairs, internet, everything major. I didn't complain. I thought we were building something. The guest room used to be my office, then storage. Occasionally, my brother stayed there when he visited. It was never, at any point, meant to be a rental. One random Tuesday night, I'm reheating leftovers, and she says, "Super casual, I listed the guest room on Airbnb. We already have 3 bookings next month." I thought I misheard her. "You what?" "I listed the guest room," she repeats like I'm slow. "On Airbnb. We need the cash." "Who's we?" She rolls her eyes. "Us, obviously." I just stared at her. "It's my house. And I live here," she says immediately. "I contribute. It's wasted space. People do this all the time." "Did you ask me?" "I knew you'd overreact." That line told me everything. She knew I'd say no, so she just didn't ask. I walked to the guest room. She had deep cleaned it, rearranged furniture, put up cheap decor, fresh sheets, even one of those little welcome baskets with travel-sized shampoo and mints like she was running a boutique hotel. "How long has this been listed?" "A week." "A week," I repeat. "And you didn't think to mention it?" "I was going to tell you once we got bookings." She says this like it's normal logic. I asked to see the listing. 3 confirmed bookings. 1 in 2 weeks. 1 the week after. 1 about a month and a half out. She priced it low to build reviews. "You're undercutting the whole neighborhood." "Volume over margin," she says proudly. I'm not even mad at that point. I'm calculating. What about zoning laws? I ask. Insurance? Liability? What if someone gets hurt? What if they steal something? What if they refuse to leave? "It's 1 room," she says. "You're being dramatic." "It's my house." "It's our future," she fires back. That phrase. She used it every time she wanted something I wasn't comfortable with. Our future. Translation, your asset, my idea. I tell her calmly, take the listing down. She shakes her head. No, the first guest already paid. That's when something in me just goes quiet. Cancel it. I say, you can't just cancel on people. I look at her and say, entrepreneurial thinking. She doesn't catch the tone. That night, I don't argue. I sit in my office and think about the last year. All the small boundary pushes. The I already told my friends. The I thought you wouldn't mind. The it's easier to ask forgiveness than permission. This wasn't about money. It was about entitlement. Next morning, I call my insurance agent. I describe a hypothetical. If someone listed a room in my house as a short-term rental without telling me, what happens to coverage? He says if I knowingly allow short-term rentals without a policy rider, certain liabilities may not be covered. If I shut it down immediately and never authorized it, I'm fine. That's clear enough. Then I schedule a consult with a local real estate attorney. I explain, girlfriend lived here about a year, no written lease, no ownership interest, inconsistent contributions, just listed a room without consent. He explains that because she's lived there more than 30 days, she likely qualifies as a tenant under state law, even without paying formal rent. If I want her out, I have to give proper written notice, typically 30 days. If she refuses to leave after that, I file for eviction, unlawful detainer. Then there's a hearing. If I win, court gives her a deadline. If she still doesn't leave, sheriff enforces it. No shortcuts. No locking her out. No shutting off utilities. That would hurt me legally. I asked about the Airbnb listing. He says since I'm the sole owner and didn't authorize commercial use, I can demand removal and contact the platform with proof. So I start moving carefully. I screenshot everything. The listing, the bookings, her messages with guests. I print my deed, mortgage statement, utility bills. I contact Airbnb support and explain I'm the property owner and did not authorize the listing. They ask for documentation. I send it. They flag the listing. Then I ask them to cancel all bookings because the property owner does not consent. They warn there will be penalties to the host account. I say that's fine. By that evening, all bookings are canceled. Guests refunded. Listing suspended. She finds out fast. She storms into my office. What did you do? I canceled every booking. You had no right. It's my house. You embarrass me. You tried to monetize my property without permission. She switches tactics. We needed that money. For what? For bills. For us. I pay the mortgage. That's not fair, she snaps. You hold that over my head. I slide a formal 30-day written notice across the desk. Termination of tenancy. Dated and signed. Her face changes. What is this? 30 days notice to vacate. You're kicking me out? Over this. Over the pattern. You can't just throw me out. I'm not. I'm following the law. That's when the real games start. First, guilt. After everything I've done for you. Then, accusations. This is financial abuse. Then, gaslighting. You agreed we should be smarter with money. I never agreed to strangers staying in my house. A few days later, I get a notice from the city about a potential zoning violation regarding short-term rentals at my address. She anonymously reported the property for illegal Airbnb operation. I call the inspector. Explain the listing was unauthorized and removed immediately. Provide documentation. Case closed. 2 days later, my car gets towed from my own driveway. She had called a tow company claiming it was abandoned and blocking access. I have security cameras. I show footage. Tow company returns and waives fees. She starts posting vague stuff online about men who weaponize home ownership to control women. Mutual friends text me asking what's going on. I don't respond publicly. I save screenshots. Around day 10, she changes the Wi-Fi password and says, if I'm just a tenant, then treat me like one. So I do. All communication in writing, text or email only. I post shared space expectations in writing. I change the alarm code and keep it to myself. I don't lock her out of the house because that would be illegal. I just secure my office and personal items. About a week after cancellations, one of the original guests shows up anyway. Apparently, he drove a long distance and didn't double-check the cancellation notice. He rings the doorbell with a suitcase. I have a booking. It was canceled. I tell him, you were refunded. He checks his phone and sees it. He looks frustrated but not angry. I give him directions to a nearby hotel and even call ahead to confirm availability. Not his fault. Inside, she's watching from a hallway. Later she says, you made me look stupid. You handle that yourself. Day 15, she stops packing. Instead, she invites friends over loudly talking about tenant rights and how I can't just kick her out. One of them tells me she can drag this out for months. Not really. Not without paying rent and not without a lease. The law is slow, but it's clear. I check again with my attorney to make sure I'm handling everything properly. He confirms once the 30 days are up. If she doesn't leave, I file eviction. Then it's a few weeks to hearing depending on court schedule. Day 25, I come home to find the guest room destroyed. Sheets ripped, wall art smashed, a hole punched in drywall. I take photos, get a repair estimate from a contractor, file a police report for property damage. I'm not trying to get her arrested. I just want documentation in case this escalates further. When I show her the estimate, she says, prove I did it. I don't argue. I just keep records. Day 30 comes. Her stuff is still there. You need to be out by midnight. I tell her, I'm not leaving. Then tomorrow I file. You wouldn't. Next morning I go to the courthouse and file for eviction. Pay the filing fee. She gets formally served with court papers and a hearing date. That's when reality sets in for her. You're really going to court over this? Yes. You're going to ruin my rental history. You tried to run a business out of my house without consent. She tries one more move. She contacts Airbnb claiming I hacked her account and cost her income. Airbnb requests more verification from me. I send documentation again. They permanently remove the listing and warn her about fraudulent representation. Court date comes about 3 weeks later. Judge asks simple questions. Are you on the deed? No. Is there a written lease? No. Did you receive 30 days notice? Yes. Judge grants possession to me and gives her 7 days to vacate before sheriff enforcement. She's out in 3. On her last day, she stands in the doorway with her suitcase and says, "You will regret this." I say, "I won't." After she leaves, I change every lock, every code, upgrade cameras, repair drywall, repaint the guest room. Total repair costs come out of pocket. Worth it. The house feels different now. Quiet. Controlled. Mine again. What gets me isn't that she wanted extra money. It's how fast she felt entitled to use something she didn't build, didn't own, and didn't ask about. The Airbnb listing was just the final straw. The real issue was the mindset. If someone can convince themselves that your property is automatically ours without discussion, they'll convince themselves of anything. Entrepreneurial thinking is great, just not when the business plan starts with someone else's deed. If you made it this far, maybe stick around. I promise I won't rent out your couch without asking first.